Welcome to the BudsnReality Show, the number one Liberty pod in Detroit. I am Sean Collins, the guy with a lot to say, and you'll never guess who I brought out of hiatus, man. He's been gone for about a year. Mr. Noel Olinde, aka the Cajun Libertarian, my brother. How are you?
Man, dude, I'm doing great. I'm glad to be back. Can't wait to be back full time. I tell you what, I am super excited and super grateful that my first time back on air is on your show specifically. That means a lot to me. I can't thank you enough, bro. I appreciate this opportunity a lot.
Dude, you're my boy. Like we've talked about this many times.
Yeah.
You're in my libertarian
Yeah.
trifecta. You know, when it's
Same.
like it's Shane Hazel, Spike Cohen, and you, and then a very close like honorable mention in my top. They're my top five is Michael White and Larry Sharp. I love those gentlemen so very much. You know, and I love you, man. You've been gone
Love you
for a
too.
while, man. Like, but you've been doing a lot of things, and I can't even like knock you for your break because I took a month off from the show and it was so nice.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure, and then so much has happened. I actually, a little backstory, I actually initially took the break. The last show I did was on a Thursday. Well, the Wednesday prior to that was when my son's, at that time he was 6. Or no, I'm sorry, at the time he was 7. He's going to turn 8 this month. He had a surgery scheduled for his ears,
Okay.
right? To remove things and put tubes in. Okay. And look, I'm not going to lie to you. I freaked out. Number one, excuse me, sorry. The entire reason I'm in this right here is because of my extensive knowledge, love, training, and literal education in the entity of science and medicine. Highly trained medical professional in the military, aerospace medicine tech, field medicine tech, audiology tech, phlebotomy tech, blah, blah, blah. Who cares about the stuff? I'm just trying to lay down a background as to why the COVID tyranny really sent me over the edge. The only reason anybody knows who I am is because of the COVID tyranny, because of my absolute love and respect, admiration for the institution of science and medicine. So, yes, I'm going to lose my ish when you compromise the entity that I've sunk so many years of my life into. And so I did. I lost it. And so naturally, after I got into this, I started going down every rabbit hole you possibly can because that's what we do. You don't wind up libertarian, you wind up something else, and then you want to be an information whore like me and travel every rabbit hole possible. Then you wind up down the Rothbardian trail
Yes,
and the libertarian. That's how you get there.
absolutely.
It's just natural. Like if you want to find the truth, you got to go find it. It ain't going to be handed to you. And so that's what had happened. So then, long story short, my son was about to have surgery on his ears, and I panicked the day before. And I said, no, I don't want to do this. I don't want them touching my son. I know I'd rather try to figure out a different way. Do not cut him. I want to figure something else out. And then I find out that the doctor, the pediatrician that was recommending the surgery was one of the only few in like a quadruple state area that actually recommends the surgery because he was also against it. And he shot back and was like, brother, I never do this. I rarely do this. But in your son's case, if you don't, he 100% without question will need hearing aids. And so I said, let me pray about it. And that was on a Wednesday. I prayed about it. His surgery was scheduled the next day. I prayed about it and prayed about it. I still was like, okay, I don't feel good about this, but everything involved seems like this is genuine coming from you. So go for it. Well, the day of, I started having severe panic attacks.
Oof.
Like debilitating panic attacks and anxiety. Like I literally had to leave work, go home, pull off all my clothes, strip down, get in the bed, and it just, I was pouring some. I mean, having debilitating. I thought I was going to die. I legitimately thought I was going to die. The panic attacks were so bad. I did the show that night, and that was the last time I did the show. I had to take the break. I found out the next week that my wife was pregnant again. So another big one there, you know, and I'm
Surprise,
still,
you're
because
40,
once,
you're gonna have a kid.
yeah, right. Right. It was my wife and I's first accident, but you know, that's how it goes. And she's awesome. That's going to be a phenomenal story here in a few minutes.
Oh yeah,
But
we're getting into that.
yeah, I was crashing hard with anxiety and panic attacks, because once a demon like that gets in your brain, it's hard to get it out, because it really is a self-inflicted wound. It's you legitimately giving it validation in your own mind, and you give it that validation through your own personal fear of you thinking about it. So you're scared of, oh crap, I don't want to do this. I know their panic attacks, I know their anxiety. I don't want, but it's already there. It's like a freaking parasite. It's like a weed growing, and it grows and you help it grow. You're trying to kill a weed that you're also watering at the same time by giving it the fear. And it probably took me 3 months to get out of the weeds of thinking I was going to die from these panic attacks and worrying if I should go to the hospital or not. And then the pregnancy, you know, and so there was that. And then as soon as I went to go and start getting back on, we actually started to be able to buy a house for the first time. And that's what I'm sitting in a studio that I built with my bare hands, in the first house that I ever bought at 41 years old for my wife and kids. And so it's been like, and even like you and I discussed, even the studio is not even complete. Y'all can't even see the whole of it. This thing is massive. I've got, you know, so much going on, but that's the short of it all with why I've been on the break so long. But I am extremely grateful to be back on with you first, personally, because like you said, you're my brother, and we've been doing this together for a long time, been fighting this battle, been doing these shows, and I couldn't be more proud to be back on air with you for the first time specifically.
Man, thank you so much. That really means a lot, especially considering it came from you, because like I really look up to you and what you were doing. Like when I first found you in like 2020, I believe, on the Facebook, I'm like, this guy's a cool kid. You know what I mean? And then, you know, you were doing your thing, and then you got in trouble like the rest of us did. You know, you get your account snooped, and you're like, shit, where'd he go? And then all of a sudden you pop back up. I'm like, oh, he's back, you know. And then I got on the Twitter. My wife actually started this podcast for me, you know, for Christmas.
Yeah.
And then I found you again. I'm like, yep, we're gonna, one way or another, we're gonna talk to this guy. It's gonna be all good. You know, we just ended up becoming friends, and it's so cool how this stuff works out, man. Like, but like honestly, man, like, you know, life is full of trials and tribulations. It's peaks and valleys. You know, you never know what you're gonna get. I always say life has a really fucked up sense of humor, because it really, like it really does. You never know what kind of curveball or what kind of lemon it's gonna throw at you, but you gotta be ready to just knock that shit right out of the park, dude. No matter what the circumstances, you have to be ready to knock that curveball or that lemon way out of the park, send it out of the field, and never let it to return, you know. But you know, that's just kind of what life is, man. And there's no getting around it. It's just what it is. But you know, we were talking one day about like, hey, I'm gonna have you back onto the show, and you're like, what do you want to talk about? And I was like, man, anything under the sun. And then you threw a story at me, and I was like, this is the greatest intro to a show ever, minus all the stuff we just did. You guys, we are being ruled by satanic globalist pedophiles. Period. And it just doesn't cover the government side of things. This covers Hollywood. This covers musicians. This covers anybody who is in that, I guess, matrix. I don't know what to call it. You know what I mean? But what I do know is there's a huge beef between Kendrick Lamar and Drake. So, like, first off, anybody who's of my age or older or your age, we know about hip hop beefs, do we? This has been going on.
Ah, yeah.
We went through Big and
Yeah.
Pac and we'll get into that a little later, but like this beef right here between Kendrick Lamar and Drake is something a little different. And it kind of goes with the 50 Cent and the P. Diddy beef that's happening right now because it's kind of a similar situation. Now, in the similar situation being that not only is P. Diddy being called out for pedophilia and sex trafficking, now Kendrick Lamar has specifically called out Drake for pedophilia and sex trafficking. He made a song called Not Like Us, right? Which at this point has well over 30 million views. I looked earlier and it was well over 30.
It's about 35.
By the time this show comes out, it'll probably be well over 40 or 50 million. I guarantee that.
Easy.
Where Kendrick Lamar threw out some serious accusations during this song. But before that, this is the funny part, which isn't so funny actually. Before that, Kendrick Lamar had put a pin drop on Drake's house for every sex offender that ever showed up to Drake's house. So what are we getting at here, guys?
Look, I'll lead off with this. And you can hate me for not necessarily you, but I don't care. I legitimately believe this with all my heart. Just this song alone, just this diss track alone puts Kendrick Lamar into the conversation of GOAT, the greatest of all time rappers. Nobody's ever deleted another human being through a rap battle like we just saw what Kendrick Lamar do. And on top of that, he just released a new video of Not Like Us, and the subliminal messaging in it is absolutely brutal. The original video was just a screenshot of all the Google pin drops of every sex offender that's been to Drake's mansion. It's the most beautiful thing. It's the best thing, bar none, to ever happen to the rap industry or hip hop. No question. And I will die on this hill because at the end of the day, Kendrick freaking Lamar did more in one rap song to expose the Hollywood pedophile elites than the federal government has done in decades of investigatory work. Not to mention that it also showed each and every one of us that the government was once again covering up a pedophile ring because ain't nobody knew about it until Kendrick dropped the greatest diss track of all time. The man needs the GOAT label, and I won't apologize for it.
Dude, I'll tell you what, when it comes to subliminal messaging, like there was so much in that video. Like, number one, they showed the owl in the cage, right? Now, the owl is the symbol of Kendrick Lamar's record label that he's on, right? So they're saying he's fixing to be locked up, is what he's trying to say.
He's under investigation.
And not only that, like there's a spot in the video where he does a bunch of push-ups, which it was 17 to be exact. What's 17? Yep. The age of a minor.
Still of a minor.
So this is where we're going here right now. And I'm not going to be sorry for this because I'm tired. I've never tiptoed around this, but I'm tired of people tiptoeing around what is going on in our world and nobody is saying a fucking thing about it. I'm tired of it. So this is where we're at right now. We have Epstein Island.
Yep.
We have Epstein Island. Jeffrey Epstein had the island where they were trafficking underage girls for Hollywood elites, musicians, and politicians. That was happening. There's people from the right and the left and everybody in between who believes this. Everybody kind of believes a different story about who was there and who was not there. Let me give you something, you guys. Birds of a feather flock together. That saying goes a long ways. And I'm telling you right now, when you have people like Prince Andrew, who was found, I don't want to say found guilty, but like he had to pay Virginia Giuffre I don't know I can't remember if it was 12 or $20 million, but it was somewhere in there where he had to pay her off to keep her quiet. We know that Bill Clinton was there well over 20 times on the island. We know that. This is a fact. Nobody's saying anything about it. Do you think his homies weren't coming with him?
Yeah, but here's the beautiful part about it, right? So, and I'm going to reference it in the song as a former lifelong, no, I guess not lifelong because I'm only 41, but from 20 to 30 years old, I was arrested. I went to jail probably, I don't know, like 7 or 8 times. I've got 15 to 20 charges, something like that crap. Okay. There's a reference in the song that pretty much everyone, I feel like everyone knows, but if they don't, they should know. And he says, hey, Drake, I hear you like I'm young. You better not ever go to cell block 1. And that's because there's something that everyone, if they don't understand, they need to understand about the black community, about black culture, is that pedophilia is a white folk problem. Let's be real. Psychopaths, serial killers, and pedophiles, that is like a 99% to 1% white folk problem.
Yes.
Black people don't put up with that. And who dominates the penitentiary? Who dominates cell block 1? Is cell block 1? Essentially, cell block 1 is just gen pop. It's just general population. There's a reason that they legally started removing the pedophiles from gen pop, general population, from cell block 1. It's because they were getting beaten to death. Because the black community doesn't do this. They don't put up with this. So when you have the Epstein Island situation, it's like, wow, well, that's terrible. But when a black phenomenal artist brings it home into their own quote unquote community, it just hits a new level that exposes how really bad this is to the entire world. Because let's be honest, whether you like it or not, hip hop, rap music is a massive part of our American culture now, as well as it should be. I'm a 90s baby. I'm a millennial. I'm a 41-year-old millennial. You might be just out of the age range, but you get it, right? You get it. Okay. And there's, again, GOAT status. There's never been an absolute assassin like Kendrick Lamar. And you can expect more to come ahead. When he says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus 5 stocks, how many do I have? Apparently that's a reference to he's got like another handful of diss tracks ready to go. If that's true, how much worse can it get? And if it gets that much worse, everybody should already know right now, trust me, if Drake is your favorite person, is your favorite artist, whatever, okay, fine. I hope to God he's not anymore. That dude is gone. That dude, look, Sean Combs, P. Diddy, has already left the country. Now we're going to have to find out what the legalese is, all of that behind extradition from a private island back to the United States. I don't know how that works. Fairly certain Drake has already left the country as well because of this situation. You can expect more of these dominoes to fall. And guess what? It's going to happen at the hands of voluntary people and not the state, proving once again that we, the people, are better at everything than the freaking government. Hands down, bar none, there's no question about it. We just literally exposed an entire pedophile ring and government cover-up, by the way. Ain't nobody heard about these investigations into Drake and OVO until Kendrick Lamar assassinated that dude verbally on his diss track.
Amen.
They were covering it up.
Yes. Yes, and they've been covering up P. Diddy for the longest time. And it's kind of like one of those things where, do you feel like I almost feel like they needed a scapegoat to get the people's minds off of what the hell's really going on.
Obviously, they're going to use that as an advantage, right? So that's a great point. It always needs to be brought up to remember that they're going to use these smoke shows to distract us from what they're doing. While they're doing the cover up of the child sex trafficking and just general human trafficking overall. Yes, of course. But that does not discredit or devalue what just happened and how brilliant and amazing that Kendrick Lamar really is and his little staff and team. As far as I know, dude doesn't have a ghostwriter. He's kind of like a stable genius kind of guy. So I don't want to take any credit away from him or his team and what they did, because again, they exposed something that the government was actively covering up. Okay. We're talking about what your banner right behind you says, enemy of the state. Yes, we're talking about rap music. This dude just exposed, inadvertently or otherwise, the freaking state cover up of human trafficking. I know people are going to bypass some of it. It's like, just dismiss this rap culture. It's this or that, blah, 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 yeah. I mean, man, this cannot be understated enough that you had a civilian through a rap song expose a government cover-up on child sex trafficking through one of, if not arguably, the biggest artist in the world, and or at least verifiably more than one time in his career was the biggest artist in the world. And now that one song, dude's done. And he's probably having to flee the country. Now we look forward to seeing what the extradition cycle looks like, because he needs to be brought back and he's going to prison for life.
As he should be. Like there needs to come a point where we need to protect these children. And if we can't do it through the law, because obviously that's not going to happen, because there's laws that keep coming out that protect people who are trying to hurt these children. It doesn't stop. I live in the state of Michigan, where there are literally laws that protect teachers. And I've said this a million times on my show. There's laws that protect teachers about talking to children about these sexual things without parental consent, whether it be about being gay or trans or whatever. This is fucked up. There's no other way to explain it. Like there's no reason for somebody outside of the parental units to be talking about sex with children, unless it's about the birds and the bees. Like, you got to give it to the schools about the birds and the bees. This is where babies come from, blah, blah, blah. I'll give it to the schools for that. That's cool, man. Anything outside of that?
Homeschool your kids.
What was that?
Sorry. Homeschool your freaking kids.
Oh, yeah, well, that's all I have to say about that. But, like, we're in a situation where like teachers are protected by law to talk about children, or to talk to children about things that are very inappropriate. Number one, I look at that teacher a little different to even want to have that conversation. And I mean a lot of different.
I mean, look.
Like there's...
I'm at this point, sorry to cut you off. At this point, if that's who you are, I'm legitimately wanting the sheriff to investigate your laptop.
Absolutely.
Have you seen the stuff that's coming out? Absolutely. Have you? Oh my God! Like the Biden president, our president of the United States of America, POTUS, Joseph Robinette Biden, just swore to veto a bill that would allow that wanted voter ID for registration. Carry that to its natural conclusion. Look at all the states that are passing things about they don't want any sort of verification from the parents on their children's quote unquote sexual identity in school. What?
Right.
Man, for one, I had my beef with the public education system when they were teaching calculus instead of how to, be better on your taxes. How to work your tax refund to your advantage. You didn't learn that in high school, No, you had to learn at least one level of calculus or a sub level of trigonometry that you're never going to use in life. Right. But you know what you are going to have to deal with of every day of your life is what the is happening with your taxes so you don't go to jail. You ain't taught that. So now you've got these, and let's be honest, it's primarily Democrats. I don't really call them Democrats because, look, I'm 41.
They're
I've
fascist
still got my.
communists, period. They're not Democrats.
Yes, thank
Democratic
you.
Party,
Thank you. Thank
the
you.
Democratic Party is no longer Democrat. If you look back to the Democratic Party and you go to the OG Democrats during the Kennedy era and before that, they were actual classical liberals, which isn't the worst thing in the entire world, to be quite honest with you.
You could build a country with that.
You could totally build a country with that.
I can run a country. I can build and run a country with that successfully and a peaceful one. What we have today on the left is psychotic.
But instead, on November 22nd, 1963, or was it 19? No, it was 1963. November 22nd, 1963, they didn't like that classical liberal so much that they fucking killed him. They murdered him in the streets of Dallas. They blew his fucking head off in front of his wife.
Dude, JFK would be a hard, far right Republican in the mindset of the progressive Democrat today.
Yes, which is crazy. That's why I say the Democrats are no
Psychotic.
longer Democrats. The Republicans are no longer Republicans. I'm a former.
No, they're just Democrats.
I am a former neoconservative. I grew up very hardcore Southern Baptist. I was a Bush supporter. I supported the wars in the Middle East 2 times, not once but 2. I got wise in the later era of the Bush era, and that's when I found Ron Paul and stuff like that in 2007.
Base.
But Bush is the reason why I am what I am today. Honestly, he's the reason. Well, no, not quite. He's the reason I found libertarianism. Libertarians are the reason I found anarchism. If that makes any sense.
Oh, no, that's the natural progression of life.
Like,
right?
seriously, though,
you go far.
like the Republican Party is the reason why I found the libertarians, and then the libertarians are the reason I found anarchism. And there's no looking back at this point. Like honestly, outside of my state and local elections, I really don't care about what's happening federally. I don't care because you're not fixing it. It's over. It's not
100%.
like so,
100% agree.
So like you got to get at the local level. I preach locality and localism on my show all the time. You know, decentralization, nullification, all of it. I've been talking about it forever now. Like I could beat people over the head with this shit. It gets old after a while, but you know, you never know who's a new listener, so I bring it up. You know,
Right.
But like the fact of the matter is that we're in extremely dire shape as a country because of the fact that we have these dystopian megalomaniacs who happen to like to diddle little children and will protect themselves at all costs. They will not stop. Like, think about Jeffrey Epstein for a minute. Think about Jeffrey Epstein. Okay, he was on trial for, you know, all the things he was doing on that island, you know, sex trafficking, minors, blah, blah, blah. You know, it's not blah, 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 but I don't have time to get into all that. But the fact of the matter is, the man was murdered on watch with multiple cameras on him, right? Like, and there's nothing. It's a ghost. Like, the dude just died. He hung himself, right? He hung himself, and that was it. And that was the end of the road. Do we get a body? We didn't see a body. We didn't see anything like that. We got told by the media that the dude hung himself. For all we know, he's on that island right now with Diddy and Drake. We don't fucking know. We don't know. They could all be on that island together because they're protected. You know, it's kind of crazy. Before all this Kendrick and Drake, I don't want to keep bringing up Kendrick and Drake because there's a lot to.
No, that's good. It's totally relevant. It's so freaking relevant.
But like right before this all came out, there was a video that surfaced of Drake saying straight up that he made it because of his Jewish heritage. Like, he became famous because he was Jewish. There's a video of it.
No, he did not. I gotta see
There's
that.
a video of it. Like, I've seen it multiple times, and now I can't find it. The craziest thing is gone. Like, it's like it's been taken down. But I saw it and I heard it with my own eyes and ears, you know. And not to get into whatever that is or whatever, but like, think about this. Who is Epstein? Who is Epstein connected with? Right? Like, there's no secret that most would say he was Mossad. I don't know, but we know for a fact that he had connections to the Mossad
To
because
the
Ghislaine
CIA.
Maxwell's father was Mossad. We know that. That's what,
He was CIA. Yeah. So yeah, I'm glad you brought it there because I was totally going to bring it there myself. I don't know. I cannot confirm that Epstein was a Mossad character. I will say this. Every bit of evidence that we have now points to that, which is brutal. That's brutal because we know for a fact that they were CIA involved. At the very minimum, Jeffrey Epstein himself was a CIA informant and an FBI informant. He was working for them. We know that. He was on their payroll. This is undisputed via FOIA request. We know that. And then if you go deeper down the rabbit hole, especially if you get into Ghislaine Maxwell's family, that they're directly connected with the Mossad.
yeah.
And so it makes perfect sense, obviously, to make the connection like all the connections that we've made. Look, hate the government all you want. Man, in 20 years, they're just going to come out and tell us all this.
Right.
They do this every time. They do the most corrupt, evil things, and they have all their little freaking brain dead NPC morons running around the internet, running around the public square, whatever that public square may be. Even in the 1980s, it was a newspaper, doing their business. But at the end of the day, I'll say this because I want to clear something for me personally. I am shocked at how fast we went from the 1920s to 40s with Germany and the Jews to where we are now. I'm utterly blown away. It doesn't even matter that the public education system is as bad as it is. We all learned about it.
Right.
It legitimately doesn't matter. Also, and here's one of the most, I'll be honest with you, because I'm a diehard Christian, okay? And by every metric of today's left, I would be called a Zionist. So this was very personal and very painful for me because I'm a devout disciple of Christ, follower of the way. If you go down the rabbit hole of American politics far enough and you don't put in place guardrails, you will quickly become anti-Semitic. And there's a very, 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 very valid reason for that. And I'll leave it at that because, again,
Because
I
we're both
prefaced
in
it with
media,
who
we'll
I
be
am.
fucked if we say any more. Seriously.
Bro, and by every metric, I'm a Zionist. And by every metric, I'm a hardcore Zionist. I absolutely believe that Israel has the Holy Land. I absolutely believe that the God of Abraham has established a land just for them. Do I co-sign what the Israeli government is doing? Well, absolutely not. That's just an extension of the military-industrial complex of the United States. No, they're expansionists. I don't do that. I'm not going to sign that. I'm not going to co-sign it. I'm not going to promote it. And I will absolutely give it negative remarks and condemn it outright. I condemn what most of the Israeli government does in terms of war. Do I believe that that's their land? That that's a holy land promised to them by the creator of the universe? No question. Without doubt. Without doubt. And it was a prophetic miracle that in 1940, you can call it, the prophecy was manipulated, right? I'm fired up right now, so my brain's not working quite right, but You know what I'm talking about? Like a prophecy that they just said, oh, well, I like that. Look, like 1984, right? That wasn't a prophetic book. We made it a prophetic book. Okay. So sure, you can call the establishment of Israel as a nation a self-imposed prophecy. It wasn't like a miraculous hand of God, but did it come true?
Right.
The prophecy came true.
Right.
Israel's a nation. And then the Jews established in that nation after being scattered amongst the earth for very many, many centuries.
But let me interrupt you
So
real quick.
if you go deep enough down that rabbit hole, of course, it is divine. It is miraculous because it doesn't matter that the United Nations and a coalition of people decided that they want to make a prophecy come true. No, that's not how it works. However, don't kill kids. You know, like don't carpet bomb cities of innocent
Well,
people.
that's why I want to interrupt you.
My Bible,
So here's the thing. Like, obviously in the Bible, because
I'm
I'm
leaking
a
from one
God-fearing
nose.
man, and I believe in Christ. Like, you know, uh, the Jews are the chosen people by God. Yes. God didn't choose this government who is built on genocide and murderous ways. He didn't choose that. He doesn't want you to support that. Jesus Christ does not want you to support genocide. He doesn't want you to support war. He doesn't want any of that. You can still support Israel and the Jewish people without supporting their government. Their government's the one who wants to do this. The people do not want this. They're literally protesting the streets right now. They've had enough. And not only that, they were protesting the streets before October 7th, which was an inside job. I'm sick of not pretending it's not an inside job, or pretending, I should say. October 7th was an inside job. I've said it a million times, and we're not going to keep tiptoeing around it, okay? There's too many, I don't want to say receipts, but like, too many things that are black and white that prove otherwise. But I'm telling you right now, the Christian people who support Israel are not wrong for supporting Israel. But if they're supporting their government, yes, that's wrong. Because what the government is doing is wrong to Palestine. That's what genocide is wrong, murder is wrong. God does, thou shalt not kill. It's in the 10 Commandments. You shouldn't just be killing people, okay? Right? But here's the catch.
Yeah.
Here's the catch.
Don't murder.
Don't murder people. That's it. Like this, the innocent Israeli citizens are not out there murdering people. And before October 7th, they were literally protesting against Netanyahu for doing Hitler type shit, right? And now they're doing it again. They're doing it again because they're like, hey, man, this isn't what it seems. Now, you want me to tell you why it's an inside job? I'm going to tell you why it's an inside job. And I said it 1,000 times before on the show. Israel's borders are not the United States borders. Those things are airtight. You're not just coming into their country. Nobody is just coming into their country at all. Period. Especially with weapons. Period. It's not happening. Israel's not laid out like that. So you're just telling me a bunch of paratroopers came through during a concert in the middle of the desert somewhere out there and they killed all these people? No, hell no. They were let in. They were totally let in. And the same people that did October 7th that set it up are the same people that did 9/11. Y'all need to stop it with this stuff. Stop it.
Now, I'm fairly certain, okay, now I haven't verified this, so, YouTube, Rumble, Twitter, Facebook, I'm not saying this is fact, calm down, but this is what I've heard, and it's from people that I trust. I have heard that Bibi Netanyahu has been funding Hamas for years.
He has.
Because he needed to prop them up so that he had a reason to expand.
This is
right? Because again, we're not talking about the Holy Land. We're not talking about, yes, we are kind of in a sense, in a passing manner, but expansionism is not the Holy. Now, I can't speak to it. I'm not, and I plan on having my pastor on, who absolutely is a brilliant theologian. I'm not a theologian. He's got a master's degree. He wanted to go get his doctorate. He'd had double, triple doctorates by now, but he said that he thought that God told him that he shouldn't get any doctorate because that was just his pride. And then he spent the last 50 years in my church. He's from Oklahoma, and he spent 50 years as the pastor, not a preacher, a pastor in one church in the middle of nowhere, Mississippi, with a congregation of about 150. Okay. Now, man, you can't talk about Christianity. I hate that.
Wikipedia, this is Wikipedia. Project 2025 is a collection of conservative and right-wing policy proposals from the Heritage Foundation to reshape the United States federal government and consolidate executive power should the Republican nominee win the 2024 presidential election. It proposes reclassifying tens of thousands of proposes reclassifying tens of thousands of federal civil service workers as political appointees in order to replace them with loyalists more willing to enable the next Republican president's policies. It seeks to infuse the governments and society with Christian values. Proponents have framed the plan as a means to dismantle purportedly vast, unaccountable government bureaucracy. Critics have characterized Project 2025 as an authoritarian Christian nationalist plan to transform the U.S. into an autocracy. Many legal...
Autocracy.
Yes, autocracy.
Autocracy.
Yes.
Sorry.
Say it 10 times.
I didn't mean to. My bad, dude. It just came
No,
out.
no, it's good. Many legal experts have said it would undermine the rule of law, the separation of powers, the separation of church and state, and civil liberties, including civil rights of women, persons of color, and the LGBTQ community. That came from Wikipedia about Project 2025.
Okay, what do you want me to say? How do you want me to address it first?
Well, I mean, I just want you to address it how you address it. I have my own feelings about
great.
it.
Okay, great. So yeah, it's 100% from the Heritage Foundation. Never take politicians at their word. So when Donald Trump says, I don't know anything about that, blah, 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 yada, 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 bullcrap. He absolutely knows about Project 2025. No, it's not his. He already has an agenda, and he's had one for a long time. And you can go to his freaking website. It's called Agenda 47, right? Because Joe Biden's the 46th president. His agenda is 47. So, yes, he knew about it. I guarantee you that Trump doesn't agree with half of what's on there. People forget, man, because the media is so powerful. Donald John Trump is a New York City classic blue dog Democrat liberal. He does not like half of it, right? He's cool with overturning Roe versus Wade. He wanted that massive win for him and his base. In my opinion, massive win for the country. However, dude still wants to have abortion, but they call him a far-right Nazi. Same thing with Project 2025. Heritage Foundation. Yes, they absolutely have advisory over the Trump campaign, yada, yada, yada. Did Trump know nothing about it? Of course not. He actually contradicts himself in the same freaking paragraph when he says, I don't know anything about Project 2025. And at the end of it, he says, I disagree with a lot of Project 2025. Bro, pick one. Now, I'm willing to grant a 78-year-old, just like I give 81-year-old dementia riddle. Trump is obviously way more intelligent, way more smart than the carcass currently occupying the Oval Office. But I give both of them a bit of a pass with some of this stuff. But that, I mean, you type that up or your aide typed that up. That's inexcusable, right?
Right.
Like you contradicted yourself in the same statement. We know you know what it is. Don't gaslight people,
Right.
bro. Like most of the country is like, you know what? I understand that no other option is an option. So these are the two guys we get. So I'll deal with the incompetence and arrogance and narcissism and you know, craziness, mean tweets or whatever from the orange man because for pragmatic and obviously practical reasons, I don't want a dead guy over the nuclear codes. And if the dead guy isn't over them, who is? Now the problem gets even way worse. So, Project 2025. Yeah, I don't care. Nope. The Agenda 47 is up there. There's a lot that I agree with on 2025. There's a lot that I agree with on Agenda 47. Just like these people put this crap out, right? You can go over to the Democrats and you'll be like, yeah, I like that. You know what I mean? It's garbage.
My take on it is like anything with the agenda in front of it comes from the satanic globalist pedophiles. That's what
Really?
like if it has the word agenda, whether it's 2030, because Agenda 2030 is actually really fucked up, you know.
Yeah, I know.
But like you put that name agenda.
They removed that.
What was that?
They removed it because it got so toxic. Agenda 2030 from the World Economic Forum website.
Well, yeah,
Yeah, they
but
took
that's
it
what
off.
I'm saying is like you put the word agenda in front of it, it proves that it's satanic globalists who are pushing these agendas. Now, when it comes to Agenda 2025, like as a Christian man, of course I want people to like see the word of Christ and stuff like that, and I want to see it out in the world. I don't think the state should be.
No, it's not Agenda 2025. Trump's website is Agenda 47. Theirs is oh crap, I just lost it. Project 2025.
Oh, I'm sorry. You corrected me. Thank you.
No, you're good.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, yeah. And again, like, dude, if you could take any politician on their face, take Trump on his face. Like, you can absolutely be like, man, that guy's dumb enough to not realize that the agenda word in front of anything is global elitist. You know what I mean?
Right.
He's your peak alpha male narcissist. I would never think about something like that.
I do appreciate
I'm not Trump.
I do.
No, you're good.
Correcting me on that. No, that's messed up. I'm
You're
putting
welcome.
out bad information. So it's Project.
No, you're good. Project 2025.
Yeah.
Yeah. Agenda 47.
Yes. Now, but even so, like, you know, I do not want the state involved in my Christianity or my church at all. I very much believe in separation of the church and the state. I do like dude, anything the state touches turns into a dumpster fire, right?
No doubt.
So like, why do you want him involved? Why do you want them involved with God or, you know, the church?
I know I wouldn't. No. And I only shake my head at separation of church and state because and I nodded a little bit, is because it's not like Constitution. You know what I mean? It's just a letter from Thomas Jefferson to the Baptist Convention saying the state wouldn't involve themselves in the church. And the reason I explain that, and there's a massive reason for it, is probably my number one goal right now, outside of like, I want people to get the justice they deserve for the COVID tyranny. Anyway, I will not cede any language to the left anymore. No. Because that's where they've begun to win the battleground, right? So gender affirming, that's child mutilation.
Yes.
Okay. They've manipulated, they pervert. It's just like what Satan does. He doesn't always just outright lie. Sometimes he'll just pervert the word of God. That's what this is. This euphemistic language to disguise it, and then they win the battleground of idea through lying through language. So I'm not going to cede them any ground whatsoever anymore. However, obviously, we do not want the state dictating what religion anyone should be able to worship whatsoever. No.
No, and that's the thing. Like as much as a Christian I am and a God-fearing man I am, like it's inappropriate. Like and the Bible talks about free will. So like, why would you want the state to take away free will from these people? Like, God doesn't want you forcing anybody into anything. He doesn't want you forcing people to do stuff. He wants you to bring them into the kingdom voluntarily. Like, he doesn't just want you to beat them over the head with a stick and be like, "You're coming to heaven with me, damn it." You know what I mean? And that's
Well, no, that's never going to work. It's not going to be successful.
no, but
That's never bred success.
But like, I just don't see the state getting involved in any type of religion at all being a good thing, just because of the fact, look at what they've done to healthcare, look at what they've done to education, look what they've done to everything, everything they put their hands on, you know. But yeah, I do want,
you don't.
you know, but I would like to love them on their own accord. I don't think that should be, you know, beaten over their head or anything like that.
Right. No. I guess I'll clarify. This is the better way to say it. The First Amendment covers that. The language of separation in church and state just breeds for leftist ground because they like to use that even though that's not constitutional. They like to use that has nothing to do with the law instead of reverting to the First Amendment because they want the First Amendment violated.
Right.
But the First Amendment covers it. It literally says that the Congress shall, abridge no right to speech. It shall not establish any religion. Like, it's there. It's already there. It's there. Right? The letter from Thomas Jefferson to the back. And this is where, again, it gets continuously perverted. They're trying to say that the religion can't be in the state. That's not true. That's not true. What's true is that the state cannot establish a government religion. And we've already done that.
Look at
every freaking pride flag everywhere, every freaking year. It's a religion.
Yes.
They just found a brilliant way to skirt the Constitution. I applaud them for it. I mean, bro, as successful as they've been, I got my hands up going, yo, good job. I hate everything about you and what you've done to this country and what I might have to do to save my children. But you won.
They did it, and they are.
Great job.
And it's crazy, but it's because, and God, Malay, and you posted the video recently about it where he's like, do not give these shit leftards another inch. Don't do it. Stop it.
You cannot give them not 1 millimeter because they will use it to destroy you.
Because
that's exactly what they've done.
And oh my God, we've given them so many inches. We have to argue about like who's allowed into a bathroom with my wife, or your children, your daughters, your wife. Look, I'm telling you right now, the day that one of those freaks steps into a fucking bathroom with my wife is the day I'm going to prison for a long time.
I know.
Straight up.
I know.
And I don't even have kids. The day that somebody follows one of my nieces and nephews that is outside of the box like that into a bathroom and says they have a right to do that, I'm sorry. I have the right to beat your ass. And I'm going to go to jail for it. We're not, no more inches, but no more inches to the right either. No more inches to the right. Like, enough of this shit. Leave us alone. This is what it's all about. Leave us alone. Stop stealing our money. Stop killing people everywhere. Enough. Like, enough is enough.
I'm also just done, right? Like, everybody views this conversation right here. Promise you, I promise you, will be viewed as far right. I just don't care, bro. You can label me what you want. We're at where we are, and I'm not giving any more ground whatsoever.
I'm not even
None.
done.
You can ban me from the entire internet, and I don't think you will, because even you freaking parasitical social media companies that literally want to ban speech, you love it when your stuff goes viral and you make your money. And at the end of the day, we will all win because capitalism wins. Even the worst form of capitalism is better than any alternative.
That's right. And that's the thing. Like, America's never seen capitalism. The United States of America has never seen free market capitalism. We've seen cronyism at best. That's what we have seen. We've never seen a free market where there was no government regulations. Our businesses run as they see fit. We've never seen that. It's always, hey, we got to protect our friends, so we got to get this small guy out of here, which is what they did through COVID. They did this during COVID. All the box stores got to stay open and all the mom and pop shops closed down. If you didn't see that, you are blind. You are blind. Like, you need serious help if you didn't see that.
Picking winners and losers. It's just the ultimate form of socialism, but mixed with what is and actually always will be, other than free markets, communism, right? You can have your little breed like we have. We have a very socialistic and capitalistic society, and China's learning that in real time. They've been implementing it since watching us grow. They just have a lot more government veins over everything. But anything outside of total free markets with, minimal oversight is the best. It breeds everything better. Everything better. The society as a whole is better. The morality, the cohesion, regardless of religion, the economic prosperity is where it all starts. Also, weirdly enough, and this is my own personal conspiracy theory, I've never ever let this out on the internet before, so you're getting it in real time.
Let's go.
This is my chain of progression that I've walked through since my time off the air studying some history here. We've got several civilizations. The easiest one is Rome. The first downfall of a civilized society is prosperity. Because prosperity breeds laziness. Prosperity breeds boredom. Also, the second stage that nobody ever talks about, ever, is after prosperity comes sexual degeneracy. Cue the 1960s sexual revolution. Okay? Nobody ever talks about that. And it's the initial abandonment of the nuclear family, which is the primary governance of all successful society. Man, woman, child. No greater form of governance ever known. And it's statistically proven by a long shot. People get prosperous. People get bored. Boredom breeds drug and alcohol abuse, followed by weird sex crap.
Right.
Because you continuously need more. The feeling is never satisfied, right? You get drunk for a few times. That's great. Well, then the next few times, that's not enough. For a lot of people, this is how it goes.
Right.
And you keep going further, and it winds up in everybody's going to hate it, but all the weird sex stuff. Anything out, this is just a statistical fact. Please, for the love of God, anything out of a heterosexual marriage is abnormal. It's not normal. we breed human beings together. And we all know that the natural state of things is man, woman, child. That's your second stage. And it's your final stage. Because once you've gotten there as a degenerate society, it's cascading downhill.
Which is what we see right now in real
Correct.
time.
Because what followed immediately, at the same time, we started to abandon. Now remember, the death warrant of America was signed in 1913 in the middle of the night on a place called Jekyll Island when we instituted central banking, because they saw the prosperity that was coming in from the pure capitalism, or the most pure capitalism that we ever had. And then they instituted central banking. Everybody knows, if you read 5 seconds of history, it goes to forever wars.
Which is, there's no secret. There's no secret. And it's not like, it doesn't take a rocket science to figure out. We have been at war since the birth of the Federal Reserve. They started the Federal Reserve to fund World War I. Before that, they had to sell bonds. To get people behind war, they had to sell bonds to people. That's how they funded wars. The Federal Reserve acts all that. Not only did it act that, this is the Federal Reserve's ultimate plan. These were 7 rival bankers that went to Jekyll Island. Rival bankers, right? J.P. Morgan happens to be one of them. The Rothschilds happen to be one of them. Oh my God!
Yeah.
I don't.
Have you heard about the?
What was that?
Have you heard about the Titanic?
Absolutely, because their rivals were on that boat, and it sunk. Surprise, surprise! And there's even more conspiracy that wasn't the real Titanic that sunk. Right?
Yeah.
But check this out, y'all.
Yeah.
So these 7 rival bankers get together on Jekyll Island. Their plan is to swallow up all the independent banks. They're going to come up with this big, giant central bank that's going to swallow up the independent banks. They're going to do it slowly. This is what they're doing. They're doing it now. They're doing it now. So when you see a bank go under and J.P. Morgan bails it out, J.P. Morgan is part of the Federal Reserve. Period. J.P. Morgan was on Jekyll Island.
100%.
Like, he's not here anymore, obviously, but J.P. Morgan was on
The institution, yeah.
But, like, dude, like, the progression goes down. So then we fund World War I. We get through that. We go through the Great Depression. They print a bunch of money. They have a little boom. FDR comes in, confiscates all the fucking gold. FDR comes in and takes all the gold. The Bretton Woods.
That's where I was going. That's where I was going next. That's where I was going next. I was going next to step 3.
But, like, this is crazy, dude. So FDR comes in.
Abandon the gold standard.
We go, like, well, we were still under the gold standard to a point, but they had taken it all from people, and they told people they were going to get it back. They told people they could have their fucking gold back. These people never got their fucking gold back. And this is going to get into something real fun in a second here before we go. So then the Bretton Woods Agreement happens. Everybody loses their gold. We go through World War II. Boom. Korea. Boom. Vietnam. Boom. By the way, Kennedy comes in there in between, says, hey, oh, by the way, we got a problem with Cuba and the Cuban Missile Crisis, and Cuba's coming after us, and we got to kill all the commies, dude. And Kennedy was like, hold on a second, is Cuba really a threat? No, maybe not so much. Oh, wait, maybe Vietnam isn't a good idea. Oh, well, guess what, motherfuckers? Guess what happened? They blew his fucking head off in Texas in front of everyone at a parade, in front of his wife, in front of America. It was the day that the Republic was taken from us. The Republic died on that day. Okay? And then you go to 1971 where Richard Nixon took us directly off the gold standard, which the gold standard kept the United States from borrowing outside of its means. And all of a sudden the money printer went burr. Money printer goes burr. Now we're $35 trillion in fucking debt and counting. This is where we're at. Thanks to the Federal Reserve. That's where
the death of everything.
The dystopia started in 1913 with the Federal Reserve. The Titanic thing is real. There was rival banks on that boat.
I saw it, and my wife talked to me about it a bit, and I was like, yeah, I've seen a little bit. I haven't researched it enough, but man, it makes perfect freaking sense.
I don't know.
And if you tie it into the Malaysian Flight 27, I heard this on the Glenn Beck show, and the dude was brilliant. It wasn't Glenn, obviously. The guest he had on, and Glenn prefaced it with, this guy might be, he's going to sound crazy. I don't know if it's true or not, but he has all the scientific details. And man, did he have receipts. He said that the Malaysian flight, the one that went missing?
Yeah. Yes.
And then they found the debris like on the wrong side of the planet?
Right.
He said that, and he's hard to understand. He's one of those guys. You know what I mean? I consider myself pretty freaking smart, but like this guy speaking a foreign language, okay? He said that in a nutshell, the U.S. government, in a show of force, and now this part's been confirmed apparently, there were like 17 of the world's top chip makers headed to China. And the U.S. government, in a show of force, literally created what he described as like a wormhole. And when it spat out the other side, it spat out the wrong side. And it was just shredded.
Wow.
And then the waters drifted it up to the coast of South Africa or something like that. And it was the U.S. telling China, we got this. And the added conspiracy, which I have not confirmed, but the first one, dude brought receipts, okay? But China's response was Hawaii.
Oh, the fires?
Yep.
I don't believe that for 3 seconds, because the U.S. had been working on these weapons that came from the sky, and
DEW. But the conspiracy is that China was showing us that theirs were better and more sophisticated than ours were. That's the conspiracy. The first part, man, dude brought receipts. I don't know about the second one.
Right.
I'm just telling you, that's where it just tracks.
Now,
that's where it tracks.
Check this out, dude. Before we go today, I'm going to bring up something crazy to you, because you're talking about China. We're talking about the Federal Reserve. Gold Telegraph tweeted this today, and Gold Telegraph is actually a great piece of information. Gold demand from China and central banks accounted for 85% of the mine supply in the first 3 months of 2024. In other words, 85% of gold production has gone straight to the central banks that issue fiat currency. Well,
fun.
That's really fun, especially that Swift already said last summer, or might have not even been last summer, maybe later last year, that, or even earlier this year, possibly somewhere in there, Swift, which is the global monetization system, you guys. Swift is who controls all the money throughout the world.
All of it. Swift is the one that shut down, if I'm not mistaken, Swift is the one that shut down both Russia.
Yes.
And had a major hand, and BlackRock and State Street in shutting down the truckers in the Canadian protest as well.
Oh,
if I'm not mistaken.
It goes even deeper than that, bro. Like, you wouldn't even believe, like, the hands that shit, dude. So this is one thing I've been doing on this show for like the last over a year now, is economy, banking, money,
and Vanguard
stuff like that. BlackRock, Vanguard, they go hand in hand. But like, here's the catch.
All the same thing.
While Swift is working on, they said within the next 12 or 24 months between the two, that they're going to have the CBDC ready. And they're also going to have, I lost Noel. There he is. Hey.
My phone's about to die.
Oh, right on. We'll hurry up and get out of here. But anyways, what's going on is that the Federal Reserve is scooping up gold because they know they're about to fix the CBDC. They don't want you to have gold. So the United States is actively selling it to China and Russia as we speak right now. How is China and Russia acquiring so much gold? Oh, gee, I wonder how they're acquiring so much, even though they're supposed enemies, right? Why is the Federal Reserve accumulating so much gold? They've been having it forever. See Ron Paul's and the Fed, that the The Federal Reserve has been holding on to copious amounts of gold owned by federal bureaucrats and federal government people for eons now. Okay? Where are we headed right now? Not in a good place. Get yourself into precious metals right now. I know I was once a Bitcoin guy. I still kind of am. I believe in it in a way, but I do know there's cyber attacks. And if that shit happens, you're not getting your money. Get yourself some tangibles. See people. I don't get paid for this shit, by the way. See Ampex. Or APMEX, I'm sorry. See APMEX. Get your gold and silver from them. They're reasonable. They do put on some tax. Obviously, they're a business, but they're not killing you. I'm telling you right now, get into the precious metals game. Copper is going crazy, by the way, which you can get for pennies at the moment, but copper has gone up tenfold. Tenfold.
Wow.
Yes. I'm telling y'all right now, get the hell out of the fiat game. The crash is coming. It's only a matter of time. And it's either going to happen right before the election or it's going to happen right after the election. My own personal opinion is it's going to happen right after. That way they can blame whoever's in charge on what happened, on them. But really, this has been a bipartisan thing for decades now, to where the endless money printing is going to come to a head. We're $35 trillion in debt. Nothing's getting better. We need to start taking care of ourselves, period.
Yep.
But not to leave on a black pill, you guys. Like, you could totally protect yourself through nullification. Protect yourselves with your local coalitions. I've been talking about it for months now. This is the way out. Do your thing. Noel, do you got anything to say before I go?
Man, I just appreciate you having me on, dude. This has been an absolute blast. Thank you so much, bro. Keep doing your thing, man. You're very, very good at this. Spread that message, bro. This is awesome.
Awesome, man. But until next time, peace, love, and liberty. Thank you, Noel, for coming out of hiatus for me, man. Until next time, y'all. Be good.